Hey, I'm Dr. Jesse Abend, and welcome to another one of my videos. And in this one, I want to talk about the carnivore diet because, after all, it is World Carnivore Month, and a lot of people are interested in it. They're thinking about it, talking about it. So I want to get into it. And I want to talk about what the carnivore diet is, what theory it's based on, what science is behind it, the benefits of the carnivore diet, the risks of the carnivore diet. And then at the end of the video, I want to get into my opinion on the carnivore diet and what I think is the optimal diet, how we should be eating. Maybe it's a carnivore diet, maybe it's not. So let's get started. The carnivore diet is strictly an animal-based diet. That means foods only like beef, pork, poultry, eggs, fish. And then depending on who you talk to, you may or may not be able to include dairy products, more specifically raw dairy products, some fruits, again, depending on who you talk to. However, it excludes all vegetables, grains, nuts, seeds. So again, mostly just an animal-based diet. Now, where did the carnivore diet come from? What's the theory behind it? Well, the theory is that our ancestors, right, our primal ancestors, when they were fit in shape, hunter-gatherers, they were killing animals and eating mostly meat. They weren't eating plant foods and they weren't eating processed foods. They weren't eating all the foods that we have now that may be contributing to our poor health currently at this time, right? So the idea is that you're looking at our current time, you're looking at the state of health that we're in, and it doesn't seem to be so good. But if you went back and look at our ancestors, they were fit, in shape, they didn't have the disease that we have now, and that's due to the diet, right? That's what this theory is based off of. Now, in addition to that theory, it also states that vegetables are bad for us. They're actually harmful to our health due to certain chemicals that are found in vegetables. So some of these substances that they say are harmful that can be found in vegetables include lectins, phytates or phytic acid, oxalate or oxalic acid, glycoalkaloids, sulforaphane, and phytochemicals. Now, I'm not going to get into what they say the science is for each one of these particular substances and why it's harmful. The overall idea is that vegetables contain these substances, and these substances, although may be beneficial to the plant itself, actually harms the individual that consumes it. It may make us sick. It may introduce toxins into our body. Some are even considered anti-nutrients, meaning that they actually don't allow our body to absorb important nutrients, so actually work in a reverse type effect. The general idea is saying that vegetables are actually harmful to our health and we should not be including them. So, what are some of the benefits of the carnivore diet? What do proponents of the diet say about it, and why we should be subscribing to it, why we should become carnivore? Some advocates say that you can actually obtain all your recommended nutrients from an animal-based diet alone. It may be harder to do than if you had a more balanced diet containing non-animal based foods, but particularly if you do eat organ meats, you actually can get some of those vitamins that are difficult to find from those organ meats. Vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin E, folate, biotin, right? Not all the nutrients are found in meat, although a lot of nutrients can just be found in meat. So another benefit about the carnivore diet is that you definitely get all of your amino acids, right? All of your proteins, right? It's important to understand that not all protein is equal because proteins are made up of specific amino acids. And not all amino acids are found in all types of foods. The good thing about animal-based foods is that they provide all the essential amino acids that our body needs. Essential amino acids, meaning that our body cannot make them, we have to get them from the diet itself. And that is a good thing about the carnivore diet, is that we get all those important essential amino acids. In addition, there are also types of fats that are considered essential, meaning that our body cannot make it itself, and we can really only get these essential fatty acids from meat. Essential fatty acids being the omega-3 fats such as DHA, ALA, and EPA. When you do consume a diet consisting mainly of animal-based foods, you do limit and reduce your overall intake of processed foods, right? That is one true thing, is that most of us now today in America consume a highly processed diet. A lot of excess carbohydrates, right? Sugars, pesticides, additives, not really getting an important diversity of nutrients because most of our food is coming from processed foods. So the good thing is when you are eating an animal-based diet, you're really taking in a whole food diet and you're leaving out those unhealthy processed foods. Another benefit is that when people tend to switch and eat a carnivore-based diet, it is harder to overeat since it's mostly meat, right? It's a lot easier to eat donuts and bread and carbohydrate in excess, but when it comes to meat, it's not as easy because protein is a lot more filling. Fat is a lot more filling. So it may make overeating difficult, which is and can be a good thing for most of us who struggle with weight and excess calorie intake. So these are just some of the main benefits that I've found, but there are other benefits that some of the advocates may be talking about as well. So now let's get into what I think are the risks of the carnivore diet. So like I mentioned earlier, some of the advocates say that you can get all of your recommended nutrients from an animal-based diet alone. However, this is somewhat controversial. Some research says that you cannot. There are vitamins and minerals that meat-based products do lack or do not have enough of. And that includes vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin A, potassium, calcium, among a few others. So it may be hard to get these vitamins from just meat alone, and you may have to supplement these into your diet. It is possible to overconsume anything, right? So if you do eat animal-based, meat-based products in excess, you can take in excess protein, excess fat. And this isn't always good for our health. There has been links between saturated fat and heart disease, all those somewhat controversial. But taking in too much of anything usually isn't always the best idea. Now, the carnivore diet's theory about vegetables would probably be the biggest risk or challenge to it, right? Their theory is saying that all vegetables are bad for you because they contain harmful chemicals, substances. However, a lot of research, professionals, experts say that there are many benefits to having vegetables, right? Vegetables add and give us a lot of nutrients that we need, a lot of vitamins and minerals that are so important to our health. Vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, they provide a diverse array of important nutrients that we do need to maintain an overall optimal state of health. They also include fiber. And fiber is something that we don't get from meat, and we have to get from plant-based sources. Another example of a nutrient that is found in plant-based foods is something called flavonoids. And although the carnivore-based theory diet would tell you that flavonoids are actually harmful to you, the other side would say that flavonoids are actually beneficial to us and have many health benefits. Now, also, if you are consuming all animal-based products, it's always important to understand where your meat is coming from, right? And most of the meat that we eat comes from factory farming. And this isn't always good for the environment. It's not always good for animal welfare, right? So taking into account where our food is coming from. Now, looking at the theory, the science, the pros, the cons, what do I think about the carnivore diet? I obviously see that there can be benefit for sure. I think like with any diet, if most of us just go from what we're currently eating, which is typically the standard American diet consisting of mostly simple carbohydrates, a lot of bread, pastas, sodas, juices, fast foods, snacks, candy, right? A lot of that processed foods. And we switch over to a diet like the carnivore diet, which is mainly animal-based products, absolutely no processed foods. It would be considered most likely healthier than what we're currently eating. And we would likely see weight loss and a lot of health benefits just because we stopped eating what are considered to be unhealthy foods. Now, with that said, I think, like, again, you can see this with almost any diet that you would switch to, right? Keto, vegan, vegetarian, intermittent fasting, just stopping what you're currently eating, which is a typical American diet, and going to any one of these diets will likely show you many health benefits. So I wouldn't say that's just specific to the carnivore diet. Now, the problem I have when people just subscribe to a diet right away is that it doesn't last, because you can't just stop what you're eating, the way that you're eating, your current lifestyle that you've been essentially doing for your entire life, and think that taking on a whole new different way of living and eating is going to now stick and last with you forever. See, it doesn't work like that. And that's the problem. And most people find that out when you start these diets and you feel great, but then maybe after a few weeks, a month, 2 months, if you're lucky, you can no longer stick with it because it just doesn't fit into your routine, your lifestyle. Your body is not able to adjust and adapt that quickly, and it just doesn't work. Not because that diet, the carnivore diet or any other diet, is necessarily unhealthy. It's just because you can't make all of those changes in that short period of time. Now, is it trendy? Is it cool? Is it sexy? Do I get why people are attracted to it? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why it sells. It's why it's so popular. Do I think it's generally the best decision for people to make when they are trying to eat healthier and get healthier? I wouldn't say so for most people, because although there are many benefits to it, I think for most people, you really have to take a more rounded approach, a more personalized approach, find foods that are right for you. I don't necessarily believe that vegetables are harmful to you. I eat vegetables. I like vegetables. Maybe I'm wrong. But I just think they're fine. I think that there's a lot of health benefits to them. Again, I may be wrong, but it's just my opinion and what I believe. But I think everyone's different. I think certain foods are good for some people, while for some it's not so good. So you really have to find what's right for you. And that's why always subscribing to a diet right away is not the best idea. You have to find what works for you, do things slowly, maybe change 1 to 2 small dietary habits every week, and just do it over a long period of time until you find your way of eating. And that may include animal foods. It may include plant-based foods. It's most likely going to include a wide variety of foods, even processed foods to a degree, and in moderation. It's just about eating an overall healthier diet, eating less for most of us, and just making sure we're getting in a variety of important nutrients. So with that said, I think the carnivore diet is certainly interesting, especially during this month. But I think it's really like every diet that's out there, right? It's got its own lifestyle. It's got its own attraction. It's got its own perks, but it's usually not right for most people. However, if you feel differently, or you like the carnivore diet or don't like the carnivore diet, let me know in the comments. I'm excited to hear your opinion. And I hope this video was helpful and you learned a little bit. And I'll see you in the next one.